Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book has revolutionized the way we think about habits and personal growth. In Atomic Habits, Clear provides practical strategies to form good habits, break bad ones, and master the tiny behaviors that lead to remarkable results. Whether you're looking to improve your health, your work, or your overall life satisfaction, the principles in this book can guide you on a transformative journey. Imagine if you could improve every aspect of your life by just 1% each day. What if tiny, seemingly insignificant changes could lead to extraordinary results over time? In Atomic Habits, James Clear reveals the hidden power of small habits and how they can compound into life-changing outcomes. This isn't just about willpower or motivation. It's about creating a system that makes good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. Stay with us until the end, and you'll discover practical strategies that can help you achieve your goals, no matter how big or small. If you've ever struggled to make lasting changes or wondered how successful people build their habits, this summary is for you. Let's dive in and unlock the power of atomic habits together. The surprising power of atomic habits. In 2003, a pivotal day arrived for British cycling. Since 1908, British riders had won only one gold medal in the Olympic Games. For 110 years, no British cyclist had won the Tour de France. The performance of British riders was so dismal that no top bike manufacturers wanted to sell bikes to the team for fear of tarnishing their reputation. However, when the governing body for professional cycling in Britain hired Dave Brailsford, something unprecedented happened. What set him apart from other coaches was his commitment to his strategy, which he called the aggregation of marginal gains. This strategy meant looking for improvements in every small detail. Brailsford started making small adjustments to his team. These changes weren't large, but small tweaks, such as redesigning the bike seats for more comfort, having riders wear electrically heated overshorts to maintain the ideal muscle temperature, and rubbing alcohol on the tires for better grip. These small changes led to improvements and better results. In the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games, the team performed exceptionally well. But how did this happen? How did an ordinary team of athletes become world champions with just small changes? No one could have imagined that these small efforts could make such a big difference. Often, we don't notice these small improvements, even if they are just 1%. But if you pay attention, they are very effective, and their effects are seen not immediately, but after several years. Let's see how this works mathematically. If you improve by 1% every day for a year, you will end up 37 times better by the end of the year. Habits are like the compound interest of self-improvement. Their impact doesn't show up in a day, but definitely becomes visible after months of practice. However, the sad part is that these habits work at such a slow pace that it often takes a long time to get rid of bad habits. If you eat an unhealthy meal today, your weight on the scale won't change at all, but if you keep repeating this, you'll see toxic results. As it is said, whether you are successful or unsuccessful today doesn't matter as much as your habits, which determine if you are moving in the right direction or not. How your habits shape your identity, and vice versa. Why is it so hard to break bad habits, while good habits are so difficult to adopt? Despite our best intentions, once bad habits take hold, they don't let go easily. We may try our best to change them, but often fail, and the reasons are: 1. We try to change the wrong things, and 2. Our approach is not effective. Many people start the process of change by focusing on what they want to achieve. This leads to outcome-based habits, but if we start building identity-based habits, we focus on what we want to become. Imagine two people who want to quit smoking. When the first person is offered a cigarette, he says, "No, thank you. I'm trying to quit smoking." This response seems reasonable, but it implies that he still identifies as a smoker who is trying to become something else. He wants to change his behavior, but his beliefs remain the same. When the second person is offered a cigarette, he responds, "No, thank you. I don't smoke." Notice the subtle difference. This simple change in phrasing shifts his identity. He no longer identifies as a smoker. Most people don't think about identity change when they seek improvement. The more proud you feel about a certain aspect of yourself, the more motivated you will be to adopt new habits. You just need to decide what you want to become, and by making small changes in your habits, you can prove it to yourself. How to build better habits in 4 simple steps. In 1898, a psychologist named Edward Thorndike conducted an experiment that revealed how habits and rules form our behavior. Thorndike had a keen interest in studying animal behavior, so he started with cats. He placed each cat inside a puzzle box. The box had a door that the cat could easily open by pressing a lever or pulling a loop of cord. Most cats, upon being placed in the box, would try to escape by sniffing corners and pawing at the walls. Eventually, they would discover the lever and press it to open the door and escape. After 20-30 trials, it became clear that the cats developed a habitual behavior. Upon entering the box, they would immediately press the lever to escape. With repeated practice, the cats made fewer mistakes and focused on the solution. Thorndike described the learning process as follows. Behaviors that produce satisfying results are likely to be repeated, while those that produce unfavorable results are less likely to be repeated. The process of creating habits can be divided into 4 simple steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. 1. Cue. The cue triggers our brain to initiate a behavior. It acts as a signal for the brain to start a routine. This can be anything that provides a hint about the potential reward. Since the cue is the first sign of the reward, it often leads to cravings. 2. Craving. Cravings are the motivational forces behind every habit. Without craving a change, we have no reason to act. For instance, you don't crave smoking a cigarette, you crave the relief it provides. Cravings drive our actions because they are linked to a desire for a specific outcome. 3. Response. The response is the actual habit you perform, which can take the form of a thought or an action. Whether a response occurs or not depends on how motivated you are and how much effort it requires. If a particular action demands too much effort, it might not become a habit. 4. Reward. The reward is the end goal of every habit. It satisfies your craving and teaches you which actions are worth remembering in the future. The cue notices the reward. The craving wants the reward, and the response achieves the reward. If any of these steps are insufficient, a behavior will not become a habit. Understanding this loop helps in designing better habits and breaking bad ones. The first law. Make it obvious. The man who didn't look right. I once heard a story about a woman who had been working as a paramedic for many years. She attended a family gathering and became very concerned when she saw her father-in-law. She told him that something about his condition didn't look right and insisted that he should go to hospital immediately. Just a few hours later, he underwent surgery at the hospital, revealing that a major artery was blocked, which could have led to a heart attack at any moment. Thanks to the woman's alertness, the old man's life was saved. The human brain operates like a prediction machine. It observes every small detail and constantly monitors what's happening around you. For instance, a paramedic can recognize a heart attack patient just by looking at their face because their brain has learned to notice the cues that predict certain results. Similarly, your brain can start noticing cues that are important to you as you practice and pay attention to them. These cues become so common in our habits that we often don't even notice them. However, before building new habits, it's essential to pay attention to your current ones. This can be challenging because our habits are often automatic and ingrained over years of repetition. The biggest challenge is becoming aware of what you actually do. To do this, you need to make a list of your daily habits. Once you have a complete list, scan each behavior and ask yourself whether it's a good, bad, or neutral habit. Just score your habits without trying to change anything initially. You need to acknowledge what you do. Don't blame yourself for your faults or praise yourself for your successes. The process of behavior change always starts with awareness. The best way to start a new habit. In 2001, researchers in Great Britain conducted a study with 248 people over 2 weeks to help them build better exercise habits. The first group was a control group that simply had to track how often they exercised. The second group, called the motivation group, was instructed to track their exercise and read some books on the benefits of exercise. Additionally, researchers told them that working out reduces the risk of coronary heart disease and improves heart health. The third group received the same data and motivation as the second group, but with an added task. They had to create a specific plan for when and where they would exercise. To make this even more specific, each member of the third group wrote, "During the next week, I will engage in at least 20 minutes of vigorous exercise on this day, at this time, in this place." In the first and second groups, only 35 to 38% of participants exercised at least once a week. The motivational presentation had little impact on their behavior. However, in the third group, 91% of participants exercised at least once a week. The sentence they wrote down is what researchers call implementation intentions, a plan made in advance about when and where to act. Numerous studies have shown that implementation intentions help people stay connected to their goals. Many people think they lack motivation, but the truth is they are not clear about their goals. Knowing when and where to act is not obvious to them. However, the first law of behavior is to make it obvious. Being specific and clear about your intentions provides practical cues for your habits and allows you to design a plan for when and where to act. The key takeaway is that having a detailed plan significantly increases your chances of sticking to a new habit. By explicitly defining the time and place for your actions, you turn vague intentions into a concrete plan, making it much more likely that you will follow through. Motivation is overrated. Environment often matters more. At Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston, a primary care physician named Anne Thorndike had a revolutionary idea. She believed she could improve the eating habits of hospital staff and visitors without changing their motivation or making any announcements. Along with her colleagues, she conducted a 6-month study to change the choice architecture of the hospital cafeteria. The first step was to rearrange the drinks. Refrigerators near the cash registers were stocked only with soda. They replaced the soda with water bottles not only in the refrigerators but also at various food stations throughout the room. Soda was still available in the main refrigerator, but water was now accessible everywhere. Over the next 3 months, soda sales dropped by 11.4%, while bottled water sales increased by 25.8%. Similar changes were made to the food arrangements, and the results were consistent. No one noticed the changes, yet the impact was significant. Often people don't choose what to eat because they particularly want it, but because of where it is placed. Imagine you walk into your kitchen and find a plate of cookies. You might immediately start eating them, not because you're hungry, but because they're right there in front of you. Your habits can change in the same way, depending on where you are and the cues around you. Environment plays an invisible role in shaping human behavior. No matter how different our personalities are, some behaviors are automatically formed due to our environmental conditions. Unfortunately, the environments we live and work in often prevent us from taking specific actions because there are no obvious cues to trigger those behaviors. If you want to make a habit a main part of your life, you need to make the cue a main part of your environment. This means that to foster good habits, you should design your environment in a way that promotes them. For example, if you want to drink more water, place water bottles around your living space. If you want to read more, leave books in places where you spend a lot of time. By making small adjustments to your environment, you can create a setting that naturally encourages positive behaviors, reducing the reliance on motivation alone. The secret to self-control. In 1971, during the 16th year of the Vietnam War, Congressman Robert Steele from Connecticut and Morgan Murphy from Illinois made a shocking discovery that stunned the American public. While visiting the troops, they found out that almost 15% of the U.S. soldiers sent to Vietnam were drug addicts. Follow-up research revealed that 35% of the service members in Vietnam had tried heroin and 20% were addicted to it. This discovery led to the creation of a Special Action Office for Drug Abuse Prevention to help rehabilitate these service members when they returned to the U.S. Lee Robbins, a research director, proved that if there is a radical change in the environment, addictions can quickly disappear. The soldiers in Vietnam spent all their time surrounded by cues that triggered heroin use. The drug was easily accessible, the stress of the war, fellow soldiers who were also users, and the anxiety of being far from home and family. However, when these soldiers returned to the U.S., they were in an environment devoid of such cues, and their habits changed accordingly. This Vietnam study challenges many of our cultural beliefs about bad habits. Our culture teaches us that the solution to all our problems lies in a little bit of discipline. However, recent research has proven otherwise. When scientists observed people with strong self-control, they found that these individuals were not much different from those who struggled. Rather, disciplined people are better at life because they avoid tempting situations. People with the most self-control use it the least. If you don't need to exert self-control all the time, practicing self-control becomes much easier. In other words, our self-control does not eliminate our bad habits. Your energy should be directed toward optimizing your environment, which is more powerful. Make the cues for your good habits obvious, and make the cues for your bad habits invisible. This means that to foster good habits, you should design your environment in a way that promotes them. For example, if you want to drink more water, place water bottles around your living space. If you want to read more, leave books in places where you spend a lot of time. By making small adjustments to your environment, you can create a setting that naturally encourages positive behaviors, reducing the reliance on motivation alone. The second law, make it attractive. How to make a habit irresistible. In Dublin, Ireland, an electrical engineering student named Ronan Byrne loved watching Netflix, but also knew he needed to exercise. So, he came up with an idea. He connected his stationary bike to his laptop and TV. Then, he created a computer program that made Netflix work only if he pedaled at a certain speed. By using temptation in this way, exercising became more enjoyable for him. How did this work? It's simple. Connect the action you need to do with the action you want to do. This method is called temptation bundling and applies a psychological theory known as pre-max principle. This principle essentially states that you are more likely to perform a less desirable activity if it is linked to a more desirable one. To make habits attractive or favorable, pair them with something you enjoy. For instance, if you enjoy listening to audiobooks but need to work out, only listen to your favorite audiobook while exercising. This makes the less desirable activity, working out, more appealing because it's paired with something you enjoy, listening to an audiobook. This technique works because it combines immediate gratification with long-term benefits, making the habit more irresistible. By making the necessary actions attractive, you're more likely to stick with them, creating a sustainable habit that doesn't feel like a chore. The role of family and friends in shaping your habits. We don't choose our first habits, we imitate them. We follow our family and friends, our church, our school, our local community, and society at large. Every culture and group has its own set of standards that influence our habits. We unknowingly imitate those close to us, picking up their habits. We copy our parents and try to handle arguments and fights the way they do. We even imitate our co-workers. It's a well-known rule that if you are close to someone, you are likely to copy them. A study found that if one of your friends is obese, your chances of becoming obese increase by 57%, and the same applies in reverse. In a way, our friends and family act as invisible peer pressure. We tend to go in the same direction they do. Of course, peer pressure is only harmful when it leads to negative influences. Therefore, the best thing you can do is join a culture where your good habits are welcomed and encouraged. Surrounding yourself with people who have the habits you aspire to develop will make it easier for you to adopt those habits. Your environment, including your social circles, plays a crucial role in shaping your behavior. Being part of a supportive community can reinforce positive habits and make it more likely for you to stick with them. How to find and fix the causes of your bad habits. You can make any hard habit easier by linking it to a positive mindset. We often say things like, I have to do this, or I have to do that. But what if we simply changed one word? Instead of saying, I have to get up to go to work, say, I get to get up to go to work. By simply changing the words, you change your entire perspective. This way, you highlight the benefits of your habit rather than the setbacks and disadvantages. The secret to finding and fixing the causes of your bad habits is to reframe the association you have with them. By thinking about them differently, you can turn any hard habit into an enjoyable one. For example, if you dislike exercising, instead of thinking, I have to exercise, think, I get to exercise and improve my health. This subtle shift in language emphasizes the positive outcomes rather than the effort involved. This reframing can make a significant difference in how you perceive and approach your habits. By focusing on the benefits and positive aspects, you can transform your mindset and make it easier to stick with good habits. This approach helps you to appreciate the advantages of your actions, making them more appealing and sustainable in the long run. The third law. Make it easy. Walk slowly, but never backward. Forming a habit is a process in which a behavior, through repetition, becomes an automatic reflex. Habit repetition brings about clear physical changes in the brain. For example, the cerebellum part of musicians' brains is larger compared to non-musicians. Each time you repeat an action, you activate a specific neural circuit associated with that habit. The time it takes to form a habit doesn't matter as much. Time has never been the problem. What matters is the rate at which you perform a certain behavior. Whether you do something twice in 40 days or 200 times, it's not about the duration, but the frequency. To create any habit, you need to practice it consistently. The key to making habits easier is to focus on small, manageable steps. The goal is to reduce the friction associated with starting a new habit. For instance, if you want to start exercising, begin with just a few minutes a day rather than committing to an hour-long workout. Gradually increase the time as the habit becomes more ingrained. By making habits easy and reducing the barriers to starting them, you increase the likelihood of sticking with them. Simplify the process and break down the habit into smaller steps to make it more achievable. Remember, progress may be slow, but as long as you are moving forward and not backward, you're on the right track. Consistent small steps will eventually lead to significant changes. The law of least effort. Energy is valuable, and the brain is designed to conserve it whenever possible. It's human nature to follow the law of least effort, which states that when people are given two similar choices, they will naturally choose the one that requires the least effort. Every action requires a certain amount of energy, and the more energy required, the less likely we are to do it. In a sense, every habit is just an obstacle standing between you and the desired outcome. Dieting is an obstacle to being fit, and meditation is an obstacle to peace of mind. You don't love the habit itself, you love the outcome it delivers. But if we're all so lazy, how do some people achieve difficult goals? The solution is to create an environment where doing the right things is as easy as possible, thereby reducing the friction of obstacles. For example, meal delivery services reduce the friction of grocery shopping, and dating apps reduce the friction of social introductions. In the struggle to create better habits, explore ways to reduce the friction associated with good habits and increase the friction associated with bad habits. For instance, make your workout clothes easy to access and ready to wear, or prepare healthy meals in advance to avoid the temptation of junk food. By designing your environment to support your goals, you make it easier to follow through with good habits and harder to indulge in bad ones. This approach helps you conserve energy and stay consistent with your desired behaviors, ultimately leading to the achievement of your goals with less effort. How to stop procrastinating by using the 2-minute rule. If you want to start something big, even if it feels easy by taking big steps, you should still begin with baby steps. We all tend to try to do too much too quickly because we're excited about the change. However, a strategy that can help you is the 2-minute rule, which states, when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. You'll notice that almost any habit can be scaled down to a 2-minute version. For example, read before bed every night becomes read 1 page before bed every night. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. The point is to make it easy to start a particular habit. Whether you meditate for 1 minute, read 1 page, fold 1 piece of clothing, or do anything small, just start. Doing something that feels right is a powerful strategy. People often think reading 1 page of a book daily is insignificant, but the point is not how much you read or do, it's that you are doing it at all. Once you start, The first 2 minutes become a ritual that leads into a larger routine. This is an ideal way to become proficient in any difficult skill. Once a habit is established, there will come a point where you perform the action routinely and perfectly. You can mix the 2-minute rule with habit-shaping techniques to ensure your habit helps you achieve your ultimate goal. After establishing a habit, take it to intermediate steps and repeat the process until you become an expert. Only then should you move to the next level. Eventually, you'll find that the habit you wanted to build has become part of your personality. How to make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. In the summer of 1830, Victor Hugo, a French writer, was struggling with an impossible deadline. He had promised his publisher a new book 12 months earlier, but it made no progress. Instead, he started working on other projects, delaying his commitment. Frustrated, Hugo's publisher set a strict 6-month deadline, telling him he had to complete the book by February 1831. Faced with this challenge, Hugo devised an unusual strategy. He gave all his clothes to his assistant and instructed them to lock them away. With no clothes to wear outside, he had no choice but to stay home and focus on writing. For the entire fall and winter of 1830, Hugo dedicated himself to writing. His book, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, was published 2 weeks ahead of the deadline, on January 14th, 1831. The key to success isn't just making good habits easy, it's making bad habits hard. To make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible, you need to design your environment to support your goals. 1. Remove temptations. Just as Hugo removed his clothes to avoid leaving his home, you can remove items that lead to bad habits. For example, if you want to eat healthier, remove junk food from your house. 2. Increase friction for bad habits. Make it difficult to indulge in bad habits. If you want to stop wasting time on social media, log out of your accounts or delete the apps from your phone. 3. Decrease friction for good habits. Make it as easy as possible to follow through with good habits. If you want to exercise in the morning, lay out your workout clothes the night before. 4. Create a positive environment. Surround yourself with cues that support your good habits. If you want to read more, place books around your living space where you can easily access them. 5. Make commitments. Publicly commit to your goals, making it harder to back out. This adds a layer of accountability. By strategically designing your environment and removing obstacles, you can make good habits easier to maintain and bad habits harder to fall into. This approach ensures that you are naturally guided towards the behaviors that align with your goals. The 4th law, make it satisfying. The cardinal rule of behavior change. When an experience is satisfying, we are more likely to repeat that behavior, which makes perfect sense. Even small pleasures send a signal to our brain that says, "This is good, do it again." Take chewing gum as an example. The earliest chewing gums had no flavor, just bland resins which weren't tasty at all. But in 1891, flavors were added, making the experience more enjoyable. It stands to reason that if an experience isn't enjoyable, there's no incentive to repeat it. The cardinal rule of behavior change states, behaviors that get rewarded get repeated, and behaviors that get punished get avoided. However, this rule is a bit tricky. We don't just seek satisfaction, we seek immediate satisfaction. The outcomes of all habits are different over time, and these outcomes are often surprising. For example, bad habits often provide immediate pleasure but have long-term negative consequences, While good habits can be challenging initially, but provide long-term benefits, an immediate reward is often preferred over a future reward. People tend to spend their time seeking instant gratification rather than waiting for long-term benefits. The key point here is that the end of a behavior should be satisfying. If you want to end a bad habit, you need to make the change enjoyable, because change becomes easier when it's enjoyable. To make good habits satisfying, you can 1. Track your progress. Keeping a journal or a chart to mark your achievements can provide immediate satisfaction and a sense of accomplishment. 2. Reward yourself. Create a reward system for completing a habit. For example, treat yourself to something small when you complete a workout or finish a task. 3. Visual cues. Use visual reminders of your progress, such as a jar, where you add a coin each time you complete a habit. Seeing the jar fill up can be satisfying and motivating. 4. Make it fun. Find ways to make the habit itself enjoyable. If you want to exercise, choose activities you enjoy, like dancing or playing a sport. By ensuring that good habits are satisfying and pleasurable, you increase the likelihood of sticking with them. Remember, the goal is to make the process enjoyable so that you naturally want to repeat the behavior, thereby reinforcing positive habits and eliminating negative ones. How to stick with good habits every day. When Benjamin Franklin was in his 20s, he carried a small booklet with him daily to track his 13 personal virtues. This list included goals like lose no time, meaning don't waste time and always do something useful. At the end of each day, he would open his list and record his progress. This method is known as habit tracking, an easy way to monitor your habits. Habit tracking is powerful because it employs multiple laws of behavior change. 1. Make it obvious. Habit tracking makes a behavior obvious. Every time you open your list, you see your goals written down, reinforcing the behavior. 2. Make it attractive. Habit tracking makes any habit enjoyable because the most effective form of motivation is progress. Seeing tangible evidence of your advancement can be very satisfying. 3. Make it satisfying. It's widely known that crossing an item off a to-do list feels incredibly satisfying. Seeing your progress and results is inherently rewarding. Habit tracking is crucial for staying motivated because it keeps your focus on your goals. Here are some tips to effectively track your habits. 1. Use a journal or app. Keep a dedicated journal or use a habit tracking app to log your daily habits. This can provide a visual representation of your progress. 2. Set clear goals. Define what success looks like for each habit. Clear, measurable goals help you understand what you need to do each day. 3. Track consistently. Make it a daily routine to review and update your habit tracker. Consistency is key to building and maintaining habits. 4. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge your achievements, no matter how small. Celebrating progress keeps you motivated. 5. Review regularly. Periodically review your habit tracker to assess your progress and make adjustments if necessary. Reflecting on your journey helps you stay aligned with your goals. By incorporating habit tracking into your routine, you create a system that makes good habits stick. It provides a sense of accountability, motivation, and satisfaction, ensuring that you remain committed to your personal growth and goals. How an accountability partner can change everything. Just as we tend to repeat enjoyable experiences, we avoid repeating painful ones. Pain is an effective teacher. If failure is painful, we are motivated to fix it. However, if failure has no immediate effect on us, we tend to ignore it. The more immediate and costly the mistake, the more we learn from it. For example, the fear of a bad review forces an employee to work better. Extreme consequences make people learn quickly. This is why having an accountability partner can be incredibly helpful. Knowing that someone is watching you keeps you motivated and powerful. If you have to face immediate consequences for your actions, you are less likely to delay your work. If you procrastinate, your boss might see you as lazy and untrustworthy. We all care about the opinions of those around us, especially those who can help us reach the top. An accountability partner ensures that someone is always there to monitor your progress. Here's how an accountability partner can make a difference. 1. Immediate feedback. An accountability partner provides immediate feedback on your actions. This helps you recognize and correct mistakes quickly. 2. Motivation. Knowing that someone is holding you accountable keeps you motivated to stick to your goals. The desire to avoid disappointing your partner can be a powerful motivator. 3. Consistency. Regular check-ins with your accountability partner ensure that you remain consistent in your efforts. This consistency is crucial for building and maintaining good habits. 4. Support and encouragement. An accountability partner offers support and encouragement, helping you stay positive and focused on your goals. 5. Honest evaluation. They provide an honest evaluation of your progress, helping you see areas where you need improvement and celebrating your successes. To make the most of an accountability partnership, 1. Choose wisely. Select someone you trust and respect, and who is committed to helping you achieve your goals. 2. Set clear expectations. Define what you want to achieve and how your partner can help you stay accountable. 3. Regular check-ins. Schedule regular check-ins to discuss your progress and any challenges you're facing. 4. Be honest. Be open and honest about your progress and struggles. Transparency is key to making the partnership effective. By having an accountability partner, you create a system of external checks and support that helps you stay on track and achieve your goals more effectively. Advanced tactics. How to go from being merely good to being truly great. When you practice a habit long enough, it can start to feel routine and boring. What once excited you and brought satisfaction now feels like just another part of your day. This boredom is one of the greatest challenges you will face. We get bored with our habits because they no longer provide the same level of satisfaction, and we always expect an outcome. The truth is, it doesn't matter what you want to get better at if you only do it when it excites you. If you only engage in a habit when it excites you, you won't be consistent enough to achieve great results. Yes, there will be days when you want to quit, but the key is to stick with it even when it's painful, boring, or exhausting. This is what separates amateurs from professionals. The only way to succeed is to do what you do with all your heart and enjoy it. The downside of habits is that we often don't notice small mistakes. Because you do something repeatedly out of habit, you might not improve it. However, you don't need to worry too much about this, because some habits don't require constant improvement. For example, how you tie your shoes doesn't need frequent upgrades. But if you want to master a skill, just having a habit is not enough. You need hard practice until you acquire certain skills. Here's what you need to do to go from good to great. 1. Embrace boredom. Understand that not every moment will be exciting. Embrace the monotony and keep pushing through. This is where true growth happens. 2. Continuous improvement. Always look for small ways to improve your performance. Don't lock yourself into old thinking and acting patterns. Life is constantly changing, and so should your habits and beliefs. 3. Self-awareness. Maintain a high level of self-awareness. Regularly evaluate your performance and look for areas where you can improve. Avoid getting complacent. 4. Deliberate practice. Engage in deliberate practice, which means practicing with the intent to improve and focusing on the aspects that challenge you the most. This is how you develop mastery over time. 5. Feedback and reflection. Seek feedback and reflect on it. Understand what works and what doesn't. Make adjustments to your approach based on the feedback you receive. By incorporating these advanced tactics, you can push past the initial excitement and routine of your habits and continue to improve. This approach will help you achieve not just good, but truly great results. Conclusion. Atomic Habits by James Clear offers a comprehensive guide to understanding and transforming our habits. The principles laid out in the book are not just theoretical, but practical steps that can be applied in daily life to achieve remarkable results. By following the 4 laws of behavior change, make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying, you can create an environment conducive to positive habits while minimizing negative ones. One of the key takeaways is the importance of small, incremental changes. Often, we underestimate the power of tiny improvements made consistently over time. These 1% improvements, compounded daily, can lead to significant transformations in our lives. By focusing on the process rather than the outcome, we can stay motivated and committed to our goals. The book also emphasizes the role of our environment and social circles in shaping our habits. Surrounding ourselves with supportive, like-minded individuals and designing our spaces to encourage good behaviors can make a substantial difference in our ability to stick to new habits. Moreover, Clear highlights the importance of self-awareness and deliberate practice in achieving mastery. It's not enough to simply perform a habit. We must continuously seek ways to improve and adapt to new challenges. This requires a mindset of lifelong learning and resilience in the face of boredom and setbacks. Atomic Habits provides a blueprint for building a better life through the power of small habits. By understanding the science behind habit formation and implementing the strategies discussed, you can create lasting change and unlock your full potential. Remember, success is not a single monumental event, but a series of small, consistent actions taken over time. Start small, stay consistent, and watch as your efforts compound into extraordinary results. Thank you for listening to this audiobook summary of Atomic Habits by James Clear. We hope you found the insights and strategies helpful, and that you're inspired to start making small, positive changes in your life. Remember, it's the tiny, consistent actions that lead to remarkable transformations over time. By making your good habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, you can create a system that supports continuous improvement and success. If you enjoyed this summary and found it valuable, please consider subscribing to our channel and sharing it with your friends and family. Your support helps us bring more content like this to you. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know which habits you're planning to build or change using the principles from Atomic Habits. Stay tuned for more summaries and insights from the best personal development books out there. Until next time, keep striving for progress, not perfection, and watch as your efforts compound into extraordinary results. Thank you, and take care.